Hello everybody, this is Amy from Chateau de Rosieres, and exactly 2 weeks ago today I spent the day videoing myself and my friend Connor planting the vegetable garden whilst Marc was away. And this was quite a feat because I am a very bad gardener. I've never done it. I have no idea what I'm doing. I had all these seeds prepared that Marc had been collecting, but I was determined to do the garden, as I told you about in a previous episode. Connor doesn't have much idea about gardening either. So together with a bit of help from Ignat, we set about sorting the garden out for the day. It was ideal timing because we were in the middle of almost constant rain and we had sun forecast coming up. And it was a fun day, a tiring day, and we were really proud of the end results. I mean, we couldn't see that they'd grown yet, but we thought we'd done a reasonable job. And so today I sat down to edit the footage because we did a little bit more videoing of the plants growing yesterday with Marc and things, and there was no sound on any of the footage. We use a GoPro to film on because we do a lot of outdoor stuff and they have really good stabilisation, and all the vlogging cameras that you can get that also have quite good stabilisation but are much more like normal cameras are really expensive. We just couldn't afford it. And the GoPro's been brilliant, but occasionally it gets glitchy, and apparently this is one of those times, and because of the nature of the camera it's not an easy one to play back as you're going along, and so you just assume it's doing fine, but it seems like there was some sort of major problem with it. It also affected the the release of Terence. So I had a little chat with Marc, and I'm going to still show you quite a lot of this footage, but I'm going to narrate over the top what I think is going on. And I hope that this works. I will cut it reasonably short, but I'm just really proud of what I achieved that day, and I'd really like to show it to you in some form. So bear with me. Oh, and PS, we've also got something really big to tell you about, which I'll come to later. Hello everybody, here I am in front of the chateau with my hoe and my basket of seeds. And it's a beautiful day, and Marc is away for the day, and I've decided to try to plant the vegetable garden. Here's the first terrace where I'll be planting my vegetables. As you can see, somebody's already planted a few vegetables, and sadly I can't work out exactly where they've done it. And here I am again with my basket of seeds and my smelly dog, trying to work out what to do, because I really haven't got the faintest clue about gardening, and I seem to have a pile of about 400 packets of seeds here. Luckily, on the back of each one it does tell you roughly how deep to plant it and how far apart to space it. So I think I'm just going to pick some really random packets of seeds and see how I get on. I'm pretty sure the first thing I need to do is to hoe a line to plant the seeds in. Now the slight issue I've got here is that Monsieur Bergeron has already planted a few vegetables, as you can see the tomato canes on the left. Elsewhere though, I can't tell where he's done it, so I'm going to hoe my lines in some slightly odd places where I'm pretty sure there's been no planting. Not particularly happy with the straightness of my line, I decide to redo part of it, making an even bigger mess. Aha! But now I am planting my first row, which I think might be Italian beans. My word, I'm slow at this. No wonder it took me the whole day. First row planted, now to put some of the earth over it again. Pretty sure I planted everything way too deep. Also, you can just about start to see the ominous rain clouds gathering in the distance. Aha! Here's where I get a little bit more organised and realise that I've got somebody behind the camera who could actually be helping me with the gardening. So Connor took over the rows, which he does seem quite fast at, and I carried on with the planting. You can see here where we're trying to avoid what we think might be already planted flowers. And Pepper is just walking all over everything. Oh, and Ignat's taken over on the rotavator there in the background, clearing us a bit more ground. He's a good lad, that one. Right, now my time check tells me that this is the afternoon, which makes sense because I do seem to remember that the boys abandoned me after lunch and I was left in the increasingly strong rain. I think what I'm doing here is putting out some little labels which I made from an old ice cream tub so that I could actually try and remember what any of these things were. I think I planted about 15 different varieties of vegetables, everything from Italian peas to Polish radish, celeriac, salsify, all sorts of random things. And I'm hoping, because normally the labels don't survive, I'm hoping that this time with my permanent marker and my recycled plastic markers, it will actually stick and we'll know what's coming up. Lots and lots and lots of rain and clouds, but it's ever so pretty. And then, for some unknown reason, I decide to plant even more seeds. I put the GoPro under cover and went out there in the rain and just kept planting. I think I got a bit addicted to it in the end. I believe this is where the Polish radish came in and the 3 different varieties of beetroot. We're going to have an awful lot to harvest this year if this works out. Would you believe it's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon at this point? It's so dark. And the storm is definitely getting stronger and heavier. But I will not be defeated. Right, vegetable garden done. Now down to the wheat field. Here in this little packet is the Emma wheat I told you about way back in, I think, March. And this is the very rare early wheat that we wanted to plant. And you remember that in dismay at the fact that I couldn't put 2 wheat varieties in one field and still have pure wheat at the end of it because of cross-pollination, we had decided to instead plant long straw wheat down here on the second terrace. But when my dad asked our lovely Suffolk farmer friends Paul, Tobias and Emma about this, they said that we couldn't plant it in the spring, it just wouldn't grow, and also it needs a lot of water and we're a bit dry in our area, although this year has been very wet. So I took an executive decision to just plant one corner of that terrace with wheat. And the interesting thing I think I was telling you about in part of this video, which you obviously can't hear now, is a story which captured my imagination and is what I slightly want to replicate here. And it's a book by Jules Verne, who wrote The Mysterious Island. And in it he has a castaway who lands on a desert island. In fact, I think there's a group of them. And one of the guys finds in his pocket a grain of wheat and he plants it. Now, as Marc points out, it was a tropical island, so this all happened a lot quicker than it will do here. But he grew 1 head of wheat from that one grain, and then the next time he planted them all, and from each one you got several heads of wheat for each grain, and so on and so forth. And soon he had an entire field and enough to make many, many loaves of bread. And I really love that story, that just from one grain of wheat you can make an entire field. So my idea is I'm going to plant this one little packet of Emma wheat this year, and then next year I'm going to have hopefully twice as much when I harvest this, and so on and so forth, until I have a wonderful big wheat field here. That's my theory anyway. Right, it's jolly wet now. I've been in the garden for about 7 hours. It's pouring down with rain, and I think I probably deserve a cup of tea, and I'm extremely proud of myself. Well, we're very lucky here at Rosieres because this week we have my mum. She braved international borders, Brexit restrictions, COVID restrictions, and she made it. And so obviously we put her straight to work. And what are you doing today, Mum?
I'm painting some tiles that are going to go into the ensuite bathroom for the big bedroom, for the main bedroom.
It's my big peacock mural, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yes.
And what have I entrusted you with? Which bit of the mural?
I'm doing the leaves at the moment, so I'm doing all the leaves so I can use just one colour.
That's very neat. I think you might be allowed a drink later.
Thank you.
Do you know what kind of leaves they are for a bonus point?
No.
What do you think they might be around here?
Oh, I don't know.
Horse chestnuts.
Oh right, yes.
That's what the conkers are.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Mum is sitting here in the sunshine with music on, painting, and being followed around by the dog and the peacock and the turkey and the chickens. You're never lonely here, are you?
No, certainly not.
Right, and I have heard rumours that Marc is interfering in my garden, so I have to go and check that out.
I would if I were you.
Okay. Bye. Hello.
Hello.
What are you doing?
I've noticed you were farming mosquitoes in the in the pond. Where is that exactly?
The ponds are not my responsibility.
They are part of the garden and you're the head gardener.
No, vegetable garden is mine.
So I suggest, if I may, you put some fish in the pond to control the farm, the mosquito farming. What do you think about that?
I think you're very cheeky.
I have a suggestion about the ramp leading down to the terrace where you planted the vegetable garden.
The death ramp, as it's known when it's been raining.
Yes. I suggest you jackhammer the concrete out of that because I suspect there are some nice stones underneath. But also I was going to show you here. There are some nice hinges in the stone here, and I think there used to be a little gate. I found some matching hinges here in the barn, and I suggest we redo a little gate to close off so that the deer have fun jumping above it.
Will they be able to get above it?
Oh yes.
So what's the point in it then?
It's decorative.
Do you want me to show you my plants from the other day?
Show me your plants.
The slight problem with the gardening was that I wasn't sure which bits of the garden had already been planted because Monsieur Bergeron likes to plant some vegetables when he comes here once a week, and at that point it just wasn't clear. Now it's starting to be a lot clearer as his things are growing, but it wasn't totally clear before. And so after that day of planting, I heard him on the tractor. I couldn't find him that morning. I heard him on the tractor driving a load of soil down here, and and I saw him drive down and then just stop and stare at the garden looking completely devastated. And apparently I'd planted the vegetable lines through his nascent flower garden. So we've got a bit of accidental permaculture going on. I didn't rotivate his flower garden, so there will be flowers, but I'm not convinced my vegetables are going to grow through them. What do you
plant the dahlia here?
No, I didn't. I left it.
Because it's a good idea.
I left the dahlias in that bit.
That's also a good idea.
But where I couldn't see, here was just earth at the time.
There's a lettuce here. There's another lettuce over there.
This is the... Oh, this is a lettuce column.
There are beautifully scattered lettuce everywhere.
Yeah, but that wasn't me.
Did you spread the...
No, I didn't.
packet of seeds by any chance?
No, I was really good at putting them in lines. That's not me.
There's a very neat line of lettuce here.
That is not me.
That's very neat. Was it a zigzaggy line?
It was not. It was all in this little trench here. No, they're not my lettuce. I planted them very carefully in very carefully
they
rows.
Look very similar if they're not the same.
They're not the same. Maybe a mouse came and reorganised them after I'd planted them.
That's a possibility.
Honestly, I've got video evidence of me being extremely careful about how I planted them. Let's have a look over here at my beans and stuff. How long does it take for plants to grow when I plant them?
It depends on the plant.
Well, none of them seem to have grown. No, look! Look at my bean! Look at my bean! Look!
That's a very pretty bean.
It's my bean!
Also, I saw your peacock helping himself in the area. He really enjoys fresh bean, especially when it's small like that. So,
what can I do to protect it?
Eat the peacock, maybe?
Do you think he's eaten more of them then?
He might have done.
Oh no!
Because every evening he has his little spot in the garden. I saw him yesterday, he was full of beans.
What can I do?
I'd say...
what if we net this area?
That would be a really good idea.
Because we've got lots of sort of black netting. We could just put stakes, 3 stakes, and just cover it simply, huh? Little rat bag. Look at my little bean.
It's a very pretty garden. I'm very proud of what you achieved.
It's just there's one plant grown so far.
Yeah, but it's a very good start. Before you get more, you have to have a first one. Oh, there's a plant here.
That's...
Looks like a courgette to me.
Yes, it's courgette. Zucchini.
So you have...
Where? Oh, look! 2 plants! Oh, no, look there. There.
Oh, yes. Are you weeding Monsieur Bergeron's flowers now?
They're not flowers, they're weeds.
Are you sure?
Well, just don't tell him in case. Am I really only going to get 2 courgettes from this whole lot?
Well, that would be quite good because you don't... well, they take a lot of space, so you don't want them to be...
about 100 seeds.
Ah.
I don't know.
That would have been a bit too much on such a small line.
1.
And also, do you remember last year we had a few too many squash?
Yeah.
And so we had to eat squash for every single meal all winter.
Yeah.
Amy wasn't very enthusiastic about my idea of putting a little gate, but I still think it's a nice little idea, and also it should be done quite quickly because I already have a gate that would be perfect for that. So this is part of an old little garden fence that was in the gîte before we started doing the work, and I had put it on the side, not really knowing what I would use it for, and I think actually it is the right dimensions for the little ramp, and I think all I need to do is cut it at the right size and put it in place. So I'm just gonna do it and see if Amy is happy with that, and if not, it's the same. So literally all I need to do is reinforce it and cut it to the right length. It shouldn't be too long. It's not in the best condition ever, but it will but it's already there, so I'm not gonna be too fussy about it. The wood is a bit eaten, so it's not ideal, but it will last the time it lasts. I'm going to make little dents on either side of the gate so that this piece of wood is kept, pushes against the reinforcement, and so it doesn't, so the gate doesn't twist. beautiful gate, as good as new. The last finishing touch is that I need to angle the edge of the gate so that I can fit the hinges. So because it's just a bit too thick, and so I need to gain a few millimeters. So I'm just going to plane it. That's not too bad. So now the other ones. I broke the camera stand, so I have to improvise. So now is the moment of truth where we'll know if I measured it all right. So I took the electric screwdriver, screws, and I'm just going to screw it on the hinges, and we'll see. Janet is doing some DIY with her favorite pen. How are you, everybody? Chilling out. So this is what it will look like. So I need to plane this the corner against this hinge a bit more because it doesn't fit, and possibly cut it a tiny bit. Otherwise, on the other side, it looks perfectly fine. So I'm going to screw the hinges on that side as a start. Back to the workshop. So let's see if it fits this time. Looks good to me. Yeah, perfect. That's not bad at all. So I just need to screw the hinges on this one, and we're done. The hinge is a bit noisy, but I guess it hasn't been working in a very long time. I'll just fix that with the bit of oil, and otherwise it looks good to me. I think that's not bad. It now just needs a little bit of paint and a latch, and that's good. It's a nice little touch. It probably won't prevent a deer or a peacock from eating in the garden, but at least it looks pretty. I didn't follow your advice.
What a surprise.
And I made a little gate.
Oh, it's a beautiful little gate.
It's a beautiful little gate. And it will deter the deer from jumping above it, because at least they know they're not allowed in the garden.
I'm not sure deer are that obedient. I don't think they really care.
We can even put a little sign on the gate saying that it's forbidden to eat the vegetables, so that they know they could get in trouble if they jump over it. How does it feel?
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to deter at least very, very small deer from getting in there.
So now I need you to do a beautiful paint job on that gate.
Oh yeah?
Because you like doing painting, so I'll leave that job to you.
Well done, my shrew.
Alexa chouche.
So I promised you some big news earlier on.
What's the news? What's the news?
You might have noticed already, you might have noticed already my ever-increasing waistline, and
I thought so too.
we're very happy to tell you that we're expecting a little brother or sister for Clement.
That was it. That's what it was.
And this sort of explains, hopefully, to you all why we've been so erratic over the last few months, because we haven't always had an easy time with pregnancy. We lost 5 pregnancies before Clement, and so it's always a bit stressful, and I have to take a huge amount of medication. And so my way of dealing with that stress was to try and do a vlog a day for a week early on. And as the week went on, so my morning sickness kicked in, and I was in a right state by the end of that week, which is why we ended up with a big delay in producing the videos for you. It's been a few months where I've had, I think, 200 injections, hundreds more tablets, countless blood tests, loads of ultrasounds, and we're just starting to get to the point now where it might be okay. The last few weeks I've had horrible allergic reactions to the drugs. You can still see some of it here. But I'm weaning off most things now, and I'm hoping my energy will come back and I'll be able to do lots more videos for you as I get that wonderful second trimester buzz.
So when a day?
One what a day?
One
Video a day. Not doing that again. And I just felt bad not being able to share that, but obviously it's quite a private journey to be going on with all the worry, and it's not over yet, and it's still quite stressful, but we have this little one to keep us very occupied. Oh, you're eating poppies now, that's safe. And we hope that you enjoyed our video today and that we'll be able to give you plenty more in future. We have moved it down to a more reasonable video every other week on a Wednesday, hopefully. And if you want to see more of us, we're very active on Patreon. We do 1 or 2 mini videos a week, lots of posts, and we have a lovely community on there, and there's a link underneath. And we're just really grateful for your support and for keeping watching us. Have you got anything to say?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your support.
Bye. Mo Cherie, I came up with a solution for the netting, seeing as you didn't want to do it for me. I put one of those things that you put over food to stop the flies over my bean.
The whole crop is safe then.
The entire bean crop is safe.